The TB12 Method, How to Achieve a Lifetime of Sustained Peak Performance by Tom Brady, Part 2, Introduction. So why this book? Why now? Well, most people don't realize it, but the typical training and lifestyle regimens come up short. For so many athletes, it looks like this: work out, compete hard, get injured, visit the doctor, do physical therapy, possible surgery, back to rehab, compete hard again, get injured again, back to the doctor, more rehab, repeat, repeat, repeat. That's the vicious cycle of sports training, which takes place far too often, is talked about all too little, and has been around since before I was in high school. But it doesn't have to be that way. We all need to become active participants in our own health. With this book, I want to establish a new model of training for sustained peak performance and optimal living over the long term. The TB12 method is both a regimen and a way of life that has allowed me to play football at a high level over the course of my career, and also to live a vital, energetic life off the field. Over the years, like many athletes, I've read a lot of books about sports, health, wellness, and longevity. Most offer conflicting information, and to my mind, a lot of them come up short. But put simply, they're confusing. Even I get confused. That's why I want to write a new athlete's Bible for anyone committed to a lifetime of peak performance. Whether you're a professional, an amateur, or a man or a woman of any age who wants to stay healthy and vital. My hope is that the TB12 method will revolutionize the age-old sports and conditioning model that statistics tell us over and over again is incomplete. With this book, I'm on a mission to inspire coaches, parents, trainers, athletes, and anyone who wants to lead a healthier lifestyle to consider how pliability training and a commitment to a holistic and disciplined lifestyle will lead to a more enjoyable life that allows them to achieve any goal they set for themselves. Nothing would give me more joy than to pass on what I've learned during my life and career, whether it's the importance of pliability training, the exercises you should do to reduce the chance of injury, the best ways to work out, what proper hydration means, what foods you should eat, what supplements you should take, how to recover and rest, or what kinds of brain exercises can ramp up your performance. There's a famous quote, "Youth is wasted on the young." It's true, too. We grow up believing that our physical prime is in our mid to late 20s and our mental peak is somewhere between the ages of 30 and 50. One of the goals of the TB12 method is to combine our physical peak with our mental peak while extending both of them for as long as possible. Ultimately, our stated purpose at TB12 is sustained peak performance, which is something I want as many people as possible to experience in their own lives. We're all born with natural pliability, and we have more pliability than strength, at least when we're young, meaning that our muscles are naturally longer and softer than they are dense. Our natural pliability allows us to play hard and recover quickly. Usually a good night's rest is all it takes when we're young. Many of us begin focusing on strength and conditioning when we're in our teens in order to play sports. We stay on this path for the rest of our lives, not understanding that as time goes on and we continue to work on strength and conditioning alone, our bodies become tighter, stiffer, and unbalanced, both through strength training and the acts of daily living, which leads to compensation, which leads to overload, therefore making us more and more susceptible to injury. What actually happens when an injury occurs? An injury takes place when one of our muscles, ligaments, tendons, or bones is unable to absorb or disperse the amount of force placed on it. Put simply, when any of these body parts comes up against more force or stress than it can handle, an injury happens. Are injuries avoidable? Certainly not all of them, but many of them are. I recently read a comment given by a professional soccer coach after a game in which one of his players got injured. "Injuries happen," he said, They're a part of a player's life, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. I don't completely agree. What if, instead of accepting injury as inevitable and a part of what it means to play sports, trainers and coaches began incorporating pliability training into the traditional strength and conditioning system, educating bodies to absorb and disperse the forces placed upon them, with pliability acting as a form of the body's defense. The defense system against external forces. I believe many of those inevitable injuries could be avoided. The principle of the TB12 method are ones I've always wanted to share with other athletes who, like me, may not be natural athletes. Many people forget I was a 6th round draft pick, but who have the same drive, desire, and work ethic that I do, and who are tired of putting all that energy into methods that are likely to disable them in the end. I've seen this firsthand over the past 25 years, watching one athlete after another get hurt, rehab, exercise, working out, and engaging in physical activity are all parts of a joyful life, and I'm positive that if athletes follow the TB12 method, they will perform significantly better over a much longer period of time. The bottom line is that conditioning and endurance training that clients practice at TB12 help create the energy and vitality they need to perform the acts of daily living in an optimal way. I also want to emphasize the TB12 method isn't just for athletes who work in elite environments like the NFL, NHL, the NBA, or the MLB, and who stress and break down their bodies the most. To my mind, everyone can benefit from greater pliability and balanced body that allows more oxygen-rich blood circulation and increased vitality. The amount of pliability that will benefit you the most depends on the intensity of your activity and the type of sport or activity you engage in. Swimming, for example, is different from playing baseball, which is different from cycling. Obviously, playing football as I do, my body needs to absorb a lot of force every week. As I go into my 18th season, I now do pliability training 4 days a week, and among strength, conditioning, and pliability, I spend roughly 1/2 of my time on pliability training. Many athletes don't know what pliability is, and others might spend only a few minutes. A person who works behind a desk and isn't stressing his or her body every day needs a different level of pliability, say once a week, whereas a high school athlete who works out for 2 hours a few times a week needs higher levels. A simple way to think about it is that strength training, playing sports, and working out create denser muscles, and the denser the muscles are, the more pliability they need. It can be hard for younger athletes to wrap their heads around the concept of pliability because they have natural pliability. They recover quickly and don't want to waste their time preventing an injury that hasn't happened yet. Many of them aren't thinking ahead to pain, soreness, or worse in the future. As I said, younger bodies are naturally pliable, which is why in high school and college, young athletes need more strength than they do pliability. As athletes hit their 20s, their strength increases as their pliability decreases. As their pliability goes down, their injuries go up. And as their injuries go up, their careers get cut short. Ability allows athletes to achieve. Durability allows them to continue achieving. And pliability makes both possible. This is why coaches and parents need to take the lead by incorporating pliability training as early as possible in the lives of younger athletes. If I'd begun pliability training when I was 15 or 16 years old, I wouldn't have had to endure so many years of unnecessary pain as so many athletes do. If you want proof that pliability and the TB12 method works, I'm it. I was the kid, as you'll learn in the pages ahead, who was a 6th round NFL draft pick, 199th overall. The athlete who was told he never had the right body for football. No one believed I'd play even 1 year in college or 1 year in the pros, but I just finished my 17th season. The Patriots won the Super Bowl, and not a lot of players have ever started at quarterback in the NFL at the age of 40. If you want a great case study for the TB12 method and how someone can transform, including the thousands of men and women whose lives have been changed at the TB12 Sports Therapy Center in Foxborough, Massachusetts, it's standing right in front of you. I'm excited for you to start your own journey. This concludes part 2 of the TB12 method introduction. Please watch the other video or look out for part 3, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.